Shreya will start in 2 minutes. HOD ma'am is joining.
Okay, that's good.
Hello, Sumitra ma'am.
Hello, Prashant.
हाँ मैम તમે રીનેમ નહીં કર્યું મીટિંગ ને આઈ ગેસ ચાલશે
Also, I'm
ઓકે મેમ વી કેન સ્ટાર્ટ વી આર લાઈવ
audible.
ઓન
અવાજ સંભળાય છે ને?
yes
Shall I start?
yes ma'am you can start. Sumitra ma'am you can start.
Yeah, I'm starting. So, hello everyone. Let me introduce the speaker of today's session, Ms. Shreya Chauhan. She is currently pursuing Masters of Engineering Design at McMaster University. She has been working as a project design student on a research project of McMaster Medical Center since January 2022. She completed undergraduate at Gyan Manjari Group of College associated with Gujarat Technical University and Bachelor's of Engineering in Information Technology. During her undergraduate degree, she had opportunity to work as a UI/UX designer at Adit Technologies. So I request the speaker to start the session and give knowledge to our students. Over to you, Shreya.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. So I will share my screen. Okay. So firstly, I would like to start about myself, a little bit about myself. So I have been working with my McMaster Medical Center since past 8 months with on a research project, mostly as like a UX researcher, and also have done a lot of work as a UI designer as well. So I'm glad to get this opportunity to conduct this webinar on roadmap to become a UI/UX designer. So the content that I would be covering in today's webinar would be user interface, user experience, what is human-centered design, and introduction to design thinking, what are the basic UX research methods, what is design cycle, and then I'll give some introduction how to use Adobe XD and how to like get going doing UI on your own. Rules to consider for UI/UX designer, how to do job hunt, few resources that I found it is very useful as a beginner, and we can have some Q&A at the end. So starting with user interface. User interface design, the UI design is a process of the look, feel, and interactivity of a product. A user interface is the point of interaction between humans and computers. So there's an image right here, like the food delivery application over here. So you can see each and every element is a part of UI. So the buttons that you click, the screens that you navigate, the back buttons, the images, everything that is a part of UI design. So user interface is a process of designing how this interfaces looks and behaves. So that is called UI. And user interface, so the main elements that are used like in user interface are input controls, that are the interactive elements that enable a user to enter information. Those are like checkboxes, buttons, text fields, and drop-down lists. Navigational elements, this will help user to navigate. That will be including search fields, sliders, and hamburger menus. Informational components, this communicate useful information to user. For example, boxes, notifications, and progress bars. And containers would be basically like it is the example of like a vertically stacked list of headers that can be clicked to hide or show content. So coming to user experience. So user experience is something how the user experiences the product. A simple example I would give is right now I'm sitting on this chair. So the chair, the way it looks, like it is black in color, it is this big in size. So that is the UI of the chair. And user experience of the chair is how do I feel sitting on the chair? How comfortable I am sitting on this chair right now. So that would be like the best example of UI and UX, the basic example. That's what this image is like showing over here. Like for example, a wheelchair. So wheelchair, how can we design a wheelchair in such a way that the user experience of for the user can be better, like even when he or she is using the stairs. So that is what user experience is. And UI is how would the chair, like how would the wheelchair look for designing it like compatible for stairs. So user experience is how a user interacts and experiences a product, system, or service. It includes a person's perceptions of utility, ease of use, and efficiency. So there are two major key parts of user experience: conducting research about the users who we are designing for. So we must always focus on the user, like who are we designing for? And the other is gathering feedback from their perspectives after using that application or during any testing. Like what are their perspectives? Because at the end, the product and service we are creating for the end users. So we need to get their feedback, negative or positive, and work out on that based on iterations. So UX is all about putting user first, and research would help designers understand those users. And there are like basic three qualities. That is empathy, pragmatism, and collaboration. Empathy is able to understand users' feelings. Pragmatism is practical approach of problem solving, and that is like reaching goals. And collaboration is ability to work with different people, personalities, and work styles. So UI and UX. So UX is a lot of market research, user research, browsing list product research, then personas, defining user pain points, basic features, content flow, and it is a design of a low fidelity application that is like maybe like hand sketching all the screens and everything that comes under UX. UI is like the visual design, the way we look at the application or the website or anything. Graphics, layout, typography, high fidelity application, colors, and everything. And both of it includes of user testing, wireframes, prototypes, and iterations. So a good example to show how a UI is like both of them are incomplete without each other. So you can see the row right here, that is like the design. But if the user experience is not good enough to experience that, so it's going to be incomplete. So we need to focus on the users. Why is the user experience not as good as the design of the application? Human-centered design. So human-centered design is the interaction point between people, business, and technology. Well, all three of them like interact, like the purpose lies over there in human-centered design. So it is a problem-solving technique that puts real people at the center of the developing process, enabling you to create products, services that you resonate and are tailored to your audience needs. So we need to make sure like our business needs, our technical limitations, and what our user needs are and what our user expectations are, all of them meet, and that would create a feasible, a viable product. And design thinking. Design thinking, like it goes in 5 stages: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. In empathize, that is where the major UX lies in. The UX lies, like the major part of the UX lies in empathize, define, and ideate. Empathizing is going to users, understanding what the problem is, interviewing them, asking them what are some problems or issues they face in existing solutions. Defining is being able to articulate their problem on the basis of what their perspective is. Ideating is brainstorming those ideas, like point of views, how might we solve XYZ. Prototyping is then start to design. So this is where UX lies. Is why is UX important? Because the three, like it lies in 3 stages, like empathizing, defining, and ideating. After that, we come to the till prototype stage, we haven't yet started designing the application at all. So UI comes like on the third stage, and it's all UX before that. And at the end, like we do testing, we keep testing it on an iterative manner. Different types of testing can be alpha testing, beta testing, and a lot. So design thinking is a process of solving problems by prioritizing customers' needs above all, like above everything. It relies on observing with empathy how people interact with their environments and employs an iterative hands-on approach in creating innovation solution. So difference between human-centered design and design thinking. So human-centered design is defining, designing, and evaluating. Design thinking is understanding, observation, defining, ideation, development, and testing. So both of them are important in the process. Like we should also think like design thinking mainly focuses more upon how are we going to solve the problem on the basis of users need, and human-centered design focuses on the user itself, like what our user needs and how do user think, and empathizing with the user. So these are the difference between human-centered design. Like it's not a major difference, but individually, if we like dig deeper into each field, like it's gonna be a major difference. So UX research. So UX research like takes place during the entire process. So like there are three types of research: foundational research, design research, we can also call it technical research, and post-launch research. So in foundational research, the main questions that we ask is what should we build? What are the user problems and how do we solve it? Then design research, how do we build it? How was the experience using the prototype today? We ask the user and we get the feedback. Positive or negative, we need to consider any feedbacks because all the feedbacks are really important. How difficult was it to use? Did you encounter any challenges? And post-launch research is how well is the product meeting the needs of users? Did we succeed? How good or poor was the user experience of the product? So when we ask like how good or poor was the user experience, we are not asking about how good or poor the design was. We are asking about how user-friendly was the application for the user. So that is where the difference lies in. So a cycle, I will start from research. So we'll start researching about the application. Like if there are any existing solutions, there's no point of designing or developing an application which is already existing in the market because there's already something available. So you're already creating a competition for yourself before getting into the market. So what is something that you're innovating in the application which is not yet existing? So that is what we are supposed to do research for. Like what are the problems that the other users are facing, and in the existing solutions try to overcome that. Go to the Google review and like see the reviews, good and bad, and try to overcome all the reviews in your application or in your product or service. Then comes to wireframing. So wireframing is actually like taking a paper and a pen, like or on a whiteboard and or on like a ticket and like start drawing screens, like see how it is going. Also do some brainstorming, and research includes everything like the empathy, design, and prototype. And then creating a low fidelity application is then like deciding what tool you are using for the application and start designing. Using the wireframe, we'll start designing the low fidelity application. Then we switch to a high fidelity application. High fidelity application is adding colors to it, adding picture images to it, and like actually making a skeleton wear some clothes. So that is a high fidelity application. Then coming to prototyping is connecting different screens. That is prototyping. Then we start testing it. We start testing it with users. We start like do developer testing, and we see if it's like working or not. And then we like do an iterative manner. If it's not working, we do the entire process again. If it does, like we hand off those part of the screens to the developers. That is called handoff. So for handoff, there are some tools that like Zaplin, that is a good tool to use for handoff. But if not, you can still do handoff directly from Adobe XD or Sketch or Figma. So yes, this is hand wireframing, like just wireframing. You can just take, like, you can draw as many screens and as many ideas as you can. Then it's you and your team who's supposed to decide which screens are you supposed to proceed with. Then comes to low fidelity app design, where you design an application with like the basic structure, like you design the structure of the application. Like over here, here's a skeleton, then the skeleton has the skin on it, and at the end, like you ask it to wear some clothes. So over here, it's like you have some space for the logo, for the image, for the content, and the buttons and login button and everything. And in high fidelity application, you actually start adding images, logos, content, and actually start designing the high fidelity application. So that is the difference between wireframing, low fidelity, and high fidelity. So these are some basic tools that are used currently in the market. Mostly the most tools that I use are like Figma and Adobe XD. Sketch is used like it's not used a lot, but it is used in the market. So these are the three tools that if you want to get started doing UI UX design, I would suggest like start with at least one of them. Like take a course online or just download it and just like start doing it. I'll be able to share as much as I can in this webinar so that you'll be able to like start doing it on your own, and you don't have to like buy a course for it. But if you need like a deeper understanding and you want to get into this field for sure, then make sure you start with at least one of these tools. Starting with UI is better because UX is a lot of critical thinking and problem solving. So once you start doing a UI design, UX is going to be a part of it. So eventually you'll start understanding UX, but start focusing on UI first. So I will get started with Adobe XD, and the things that I would cover in Adobe XD today are like artboards, components, shapes, typography, states, plugins, transition, and like I would design a basic demo. I'll just stop sharing my screen so that I can share XD.
Shreya, meanwhile, there is one question in Q&A section, if you can see.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, what is the major difference between Adobe XD and Figma?
Yeah, so the major difference is amongst few features that like the command repeat, like the repeat tool doesn't exist in Figma, but it does in XD. So the major difference, like it's just between few features, rest is not like much of major of difference. I'll show it to you live so that you can see. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So this is XD, and I will start designing over here. But yeah, to answer the question again, so sorry. Okay. Yeah, so Figma is basically like Figma has more features with gradient features, so you can do a neumorphism design. Neumorphism is a good concept of if you know about the application called Thread, that's a finance application used in like stocks and stuff. So that has a lot of neumorphism design. So for neumorphism design, Figma is supposed to be better. But if you want like some, like there are few features that are like different. Other than that, both of them are used for prototyping. Both of them do the same things. You can design an application. XD is supposed to look like identical in Figma as well. You design some screens over here, those will be identical to use in. You export the screens, they are good. You export Figma screens, they are good. So there's not a major difference in both of those tools. but Figma is used more often these days, but XD is a really good tool to start doing it with, like start learning your UI design with. So I'll start with XD now. So this is the design part. Okay. This is the prototype. Over here, we actually start prototyping the screens, like doing the transition between them. In design, we design the screens. We have all the shapes over here, rectangle, circle, triangle, the pen tool and everything. Over here, it shows the list of artboards, how many artboards we have. Artboards is nothing but the screen which will have all the interactive components in it. Then we have all the plugin libraries over here. So over here, we have all the plugin libraries. You can use the libraries in your application. Like you can use it for, say, for example, you need a lot of profile pictures. So you can use like UI faces. If you need to have some icons, you can use icons for design. This like are the most used plugin libraries in XD. And over here, you actually start creating colors, character styles, components, and videos. Components is very important. Components is something. So what I would do every time, I would create an artboard. And I would rename it as main components. So what main components would do is, say for example, you're designing an application that has a tab bar and which is supposed to be used in multiple screens throughout the application. So I think someone raised a hand. Okay, I think someone raised a hand. I cannot see that. If anyone's okay to like unmute and say, I'm okay with that.
They can message in chat box also. Meanwhile, we can continue.
Okay. All right. So the main components would consist all of the main components, like the logo, like a button that is used throughout the application. Say, for example, you're designing a button. I'll start doing that. So So this is the basic screen. So let me say that here we have a logo. I'm designing a low fidelity right now so that we can get to see the difference between high fidelity and low fidelity application later on. So there would be a logo over here. Logo, like name of the application. I would keep it right here. And like I'll just add some text over here. Okay. All right. And I'll add one more artboard to it. So I will rename this artboard as like launch screen. And this one is maybe login. I'll make this bigger. Okay, so now I will also create one more spare artboard to show some states, because I want to like show most of. Okay, so we'll start experimenting over here. So I'm creating a button right here. I took a rectangle and maybe I would do it red. I would make it circular. We'll bring it here. I'll write login over here. And I would fill it by white. Make it bold. And I would increase the size of it. So this is a button right here. So now how to start making the states of it. So what we can do is firstly, I'll group it. So I'm grouping it by Command G. For Windows, you can use Control G. So it will be grouped and you can see it right here, like it has got grouped, and we can like name it as login button. Okay. So now over here on the right hand side, you can see the option called repeat grid. So what repeat grid does is, say for example, say you are designing a contact list, right? So we'll keep this button aside over here. Okay. Maybe I'll fill it with this color. And now the repeat grid feature, like this is a really good feature. Once you click on repeat grid, or you can click Command R or Control R, you do this, and what you'll be able to do is you will be able to extend all of it. So, and then you can like increase distance between them, you can shrink it, you can like make it bigger. So this is usually used when you want to like make contact list or like email, designing an email application or chat application. Here is what like it comes. So here it is named as repeat grid. So what you will do is for repeat grid, now if you want to like fill in all of this with the, you can see over here, there is one element in it. You want to fill all of this with, say for example, faces. So you'll go to plugin libraries, you go to UI faces. So these are some websites that you can go to. Unsplash is a really good tool where you can go and get some pictures. Pixels, random user, and this person does not exist is a really good feature where you can actually go and select the pictures that are not actually existing. So computer does it for yourself. So computer has like a database of some user, like some images that are not actually existing people. Like they have created using someone's eyes, someone's nose, and someone's lips. That way they created some faces. So I'll take 2 of those. I'll select photos. So I have 7 photos to select. It's loading right now. Yeah. So I would randomly select any 7 pictures. Okay. And I click on apply, and that's it. So this is the way you use, and now what you can do is you can ungroup it. So this is the way you ungrouped it, and then you can just start designing it further with any other things. So now coming with the login button back over here. So say, for example, this is a button and I want to create different states of it. So maybe when I click on it, it should go somewhere else that way. So now over here, you can see components. So over here, that would be like, this will be now the main component of that design. So now this is the default state. So you can also create hover state. So when you go on the hover state, I'll just keep it as a hover state. And in hover state, you now start designing it. Okay. Yeah. So here's the rectangle. And maybe when it is hovered, I would make it look pink in color. Okay. Now I can go to default state. And I create new state. So for example, clicked. Okay. And I would go again back to the main component. I would go to the rectangle. And over here, maybe I'll change the color to green. So, and maybe I will change the text to okay. So now we actually go into the prototype stage. And what you do is from default state over here, I'm actually prototyping the button right now. So from right now it is on hover state. So I'll click on this one. So this is tap. On tap, it will create a transition. And the output that I want to choose is clicked state. And the animation that I want to use is dissolve. It has different animation, ease in out, snap, wind up, bounce. You can try experimenting all of them. They're all like unique ones. You'll start identifying the difference. And the duration is 0.3 seconds. And I hit enter. Okay. Yeah. So now I come on the hover state. Hover state is good as it is. So on the click state, I click on it again. It will be a tap transition. It will go back to default state. And yeah, perfect. So now I would play this particular artboard. So you can see here, I'm like, this is a hover button. So I take my cursor on it and it will like make it pink. I click on it, it will be a sign up. Like, so it is doing both of it, like the hover as well on the same time. So this is what different states are, and you can use it for like different purposes. You can use it on tab bar as well. So let us start designing a tab bar really quickly. Because I want to show you. Okay, not fill in the border. Maybe I would do it blue. Okay. So this is so now I would have like 3 different functions over here. Maybe I'll select a circle right now for a plus sign. I would create my own plus sign at this moment. So there would be a line vertical 4, and over here you can see the options to either make it round, you can make it square, or you can like you can keep the center of the edge of the line where you want to. So I'll keep it circle right now, and I'll keep the border to 8. Okay, perfect. So now I'll duplicate it and I will turn it 90 degrees. So this is a plus sign right here. Now decrease the border a little bit. Okay. And now I would group them together and I would name it add. Okay. And the button all together with it, I would group it again. So this is how we do it. So now if I want to add like a home icon over here and a menu icon over here. So what I would do is I would go to the plugins, tag, icons for design. I would type in home over here. You can see we got some, so I would click this one. It got pasted somewhere here, it's right here. So I would bring it here. I would do it right. Decrease the size of it a little bit. I would lock this and I would make the height as 30. So when you lock this feature, it increases the width, like it adjusts, it starts adjusting the width along with the height. Now I would search another menu right here. I would take this. I would put it right here. And I would color it white. So I want to keep it 30. Yeah. And you can actually also like increase the border of it. So these are like editable icons over here. So this is a tab bar, okay? Now what I would do is I would make the entire tab bar as, so I would first rename it. Rename it is really important. So I would make it, I would also think I would duplicate this. See, yeah, it's right here. And I would make the opacity to 0. Perfect. Right here. And I would group both of them together as home button. And the same thing I would do with the menu as well. Let's see here. Okay. So I would group them together, name it as menu button. Okay, so I have 3 buttons right here, and this is a rectangle right here, which is the background. Okay, so now I would click all of them together and I would group them. I would name it tab bar and I would make it main component. So go to components and I would add components. So this is now my main component. So what I would do is I would not touch this. I would drag and drop this over here. And now I would have like different states of it. So now what I would do is I would create a state. I would create new state. This would be home state. This would be menu state. Okay, so the home state, I would start editing it. So in home state, I would go over here in the home and I would fill it as a darker color. Okay, so that it shows that it is selected. Okay, so now I would go to menu state. I would select the menu right here. And I would do this. It's blue. Okay. Okay. This is default state. Okay. So now I would duplicate the screens. See, this is home and this is menu. So now what you can do is you can actually drag and drop the components from the component section and you can like paste it right here. And what you can do is this is a demo screen, so I'll keep it as it is. In the home screen, you can drag and drop it again. Over here, I'll keep it to home state, so it has a home selected. So see, you don't have to design it again and again. So this is the use of components right here. And this is the menu state right here. So I would keep it right here, and this is the menu. So you don't have to actually go design it every time all again. Components, like you can create a main component and like use it throughout your application. That is what you can do with buttons as well. Just create a main button and like use it throughout your application. Okay. Yeah, so this was like the basic things that I wanted to cover. I think we're running short of time to like do the actual design, but some basic functionalities that I wanted to cover. Plugins, transition, okay. So for transitions, I would do transition real quickly. So I'll create small button right here. Okay, what I would do is I would actually add transitions to the component right here. So I would click prototype and in the default state, if I click on home, I would do a tap trigger transition and I would choose the artboard to home. So it would take it to home. Now on the menu, if I click on the menu state, tap trigger, go to menu, perfect. Go back to design phase. We go on the demo and I'll start running it. So I click on home right here. So it take me to this one. Just because I haven't added the transition on the home state, so it won't work right now. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go to different states. So you won't have to go on different screens and like add transitions. All you can do is you can add transitions on your main component. So I would quickly switch back to my presentation. Perfect. Okay, so artboards, components, shapes that we had all typographies, the way I've added components, the same way you can add headings, subheadings in the same section right there. And with the colors as well, you can add some main colors right there. States I've done default state, hover state, and another state. Plugins, I've showed you how to use plugins, transition with it. Basic demo, we're running short of time. Okay, so next. Okay, so roles to consider in this field. So this is UI designer. So UI designer is something who would actually UI design, like it would actually go and use Adobe XD or Figma or Sketch and actually start visual design of the application. Like also the UI designer role would also include of like wireframing and all the low fidelity and high fidelity application. Product manager has a little bit of task to do with UX and not a lot with UI, but he or she manages the team of few like an entire team. So that is a good role. Like it's also a high paying job. So you can also consider that one. It has most of the responsibility as a UX lead. UX designer is someone who would actually be going and problem solving, critical thinking about the product or the service. UX researcher will be doing market research, product research, user research, going to users, interviewing them, talking to them, going to stakeholders, asking them what their needs are, going to users, what they are looking for in an application, coming to graphic designer. Graphic designer is someone who designs icons, logos, and stuff like that. Art director would be someone who would be like, you can become an art director after getting 5 to 6 years of experience in either UI design or UX design. So, and also as an illustrator. So art director is like something you would want to apply later on. Illustrator is someone who would design like illustrations for the application, or illustration designer itself is like a new job role if you want to look into it. So that is a good one as well. And UX lead is someone who would be leading the UX team. Product manager is someone who would be leading the developers, the sales, someone from the sales team, someone from UI, UX, and everyone. It would have like more responsibilities as a product manager. But UX lead would have like most of the responsibilities as UI designer and UX designer. So job hunt. So how to get into this field? Now, very important thing is portfolio building. You must have your portfolio. Like you should have your portfolio at least demonstrating 3 of your designs. So go on to Wix or like actually start designing your portfolio on like anywhere you want to, and have like keep your introduction. Also talk about your hobbies, who are you as a person, your experiences and your projects, and demonstrate how did you solve the problem. LinkedIn profile, keep your profile up to date. Networking, start networking with as many people as possible on LinkedIn, because UI UX is a very niche field. So in companies, like there would be teams for 25 developers and 2 UI designers and 1 UX designer. So getting into that field is like, it's a very niche opportunity. So you'll have to like actually go out and start networking with people and apply, ask for reference. Go to the job description, make your resume like very precise to the job description, also the cover letter, include your portfolio link in your resume and cover letter. Any UI UX position you apply for, any design positions you apply for, portfolio is like a mandatory thing to submit. They would ask you to either submit it in a PDF format. So keep it ready in PDF format as well as in a website format. Must have it in a website format so that you can like add the link anywhere you want in any documents you want to share. Emailing skills is very important factor of job hunting in UI UX design, because as I said, like people usually get into UI UX through referrals. So I would also like show you some templates for referrals and emailing skills. And okay. So yeah, this is a template. Like I'm not bluffing anywhere right here. I'm using like actual templates that I have used and that has helped me get reference. So what I used to do is, say for example, name like top companies you want to get into. For example, farm companies you want to get into, right? So what you would do is every morning you wake up, go to LinkedIn, go to those companies, go to people section, start connecting with them randomly. 5 out of 100, like 5 out of 50 would accept your invitation, sometimes even more, sometimes even less. So keep them in your network. When you want to start applying for full-time positions or like co-op positions or internships, start like see the positions that are open in their company and like edit a template for yourself, request for a referral and like introduction about yourself, link, be to the point. Don't do a lot of like talking around things and like coming to the point. Be to the point, have your cover letter, your resume ready for this position. So what I did is I asked for a referral to this guy and he actually ended up giving me a referral, and I actually ended up getting 2 referrals for the same position. So which helped me got an interview like really quickly, and it got me ahead of all the applicants. So this is what you're supposed to do as well while applying as a UI UX designer in anywhere. So this is an application after like this is a template I applied somewhere, and then what I did was I emailed the HR, the hiring manager directly, that I had applied into this position. This is where I got to know about it from LinkedIn and its career page. So I would appreciate to know like if you would like give me an application processing timeline. So this way, even if your application is being missed in the ATS, like sometimes ATS won't do good, right? So ATS is a real problem. So what you want to do is you want to reach out to the hiring managers or the recruiters to let them know that you have applied to this position, and send like attach your resume and CV and portfolio along with it, and like boom, it's on their face like, okay, this is like she has applied into this position, let me look into it, and she will actually go and check your application. So this is also what you want to do is after interview, what you have to do is you have to ask for like decision timeline, like how long would it take for the decision. Keep mailing them so that they don't like forget that it also interviewed someone for this position. Okay. Learn to take rejections, because you are going to get rejections in this field because it is a very niche field. A lot of people applying into just one opportunity. It's not a software developer that there are a lot of opportunities. There are like a very minimal opportunities in this field. So create a template, ask the hiring managers what was something that left you behind in the interviews, and then it got offered to someone else. So be very honest and ask them about what went wrong. You want to get some interview insights from them. So these are some templates that I'm showing, like which I've used it. So I think it should be very useful to you, and be very confident to adapt the rejections as well. And always you have to learn from rejections. You're not supposed to like get demotivated, get motivated from it, and the insights you get, make sure you overcome it in your like future interviews. Few resources that I would suggest everyone if you are actually want to get into UI UX design. These are some certifications that I have done. So they are really nice. So I would really recommend this to you, because I've like, if it wouldn't be good enough, I would not recommend you, but they are really good to get into UI UX. Google is like mainly focusing upon UX, and the rest three are focusing upon UI. So, and it is like UI in Adobe XD, Figma, and Sketch. So if you want to just go with Figma and UX, so you can just do UI design in Figma and then UX for Google. Google is free, and the Udemy ones have a little bit of cost, but you can look into it if you actually want to get into this field. Some inspirations you always want to take before like start working on an application would be Behance, Dribble, UI8, SketchUp resources. And some references would be colors for color palettes, and material design for basic design concepts, like all the measurements from tab bar and navigation and everything. Yeah, so I know I've got like 5 minutes for Q&A, but I would try to do as much as I can.
We have much questions in Q&A section.
Okay.
Harshvardhan and Arjun, you have raised your hand. You can ask questions in Q&A section. Is it visible, Shreya, to you, the Q&A section?
Yeah, it is now visible.
Okay.
Yeah, how can we get a job for UI UX designer? As I stated, start looking for referrals. Referrals is the best way of getting into a UI UX designer field. Well, make sure you keep your LinkedIn profile up to date. Always have your portfolio with you. If you want to have a look like at my portfolio, you can just go through my LinkedIn profile. You can see what I have done. If you have any more questions which I won't be able to answer in this webinar, feel free to like type it in my LinkedIn, and I'll be like happy to answer all of them as much as I can. How can I join the university after BTech? Oh, it's like the same process. You'll have to apply, like you'll have to like go through all the IELTS and stuff. You'll have to apply it. Make sure you apply on your own rather than asking for a consultant to apply it for, because it's your application. That's how I applied it. So it would be more good for any, like if you have like more further questions, I will be able to help you. Please share the PPT. Yes, I'll share it with Prashant, like with Prashant sir, and he'll be able to like share it with you. What is the highest and minimum salary of UI designer? I'm not sure about the figures in India right now, but in Canada, it's a really high paying job after you have got much of experience. So if you have got like 3 or 4 years of experience, it's gonna be like the minimum is gonna be 1.2 100K, and the other one is like the highest, like it's the way you want to imagine Like all the farm companies and all the top tier 1 companies, they pay a lot for UI UX designers, especially for UX designers. Is Canada best for UX designer? Yes, I feel like Canada has a lot of opportunities for UX design, and not just UI design. I feel India, like most of the companies in India, like the smaller companies, are focusing more upon UI design rather than UX design, where UX is like really important part of the process. Harshvardhan, you asked why. I'm not sure what part I was in that, like during that time. So if you want to just elaborate, that would be great. How can you get a job? As I said, like you'll have to start network as much as possible on LinkedIn, start applying and to look for positions on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best place to find maximum number of openings, and you can start connecting to people, recruiters. There is everyone on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out to them. The worst scenario would be they would either block you or they would leave you like unseen or unattended. So that's okay. So feel free to reach out to as many people as you can and network with as many people as you can. Work on your portfolio. Portfolio is going to be a very strong point to attract all your recruiters. Okay. Hopefully I've
Rahul,
answered all the questions in time.
Rahul,
Yeah.
any question, Rahul? You can type in the Q&A section if you want. Okay, so Shreya, I have one question from all the student side. Like, what is the
Okay.
minimum knowledge required to get into the industry? Like, the tools are enough, the Figma and that of XD, or how much knowledge is required to get into the industry?
So the knowledge you need to require is like at least know what UX is, because main questions you will be asked in the interviews would be what design process do you follow, what is your design process. So in design process you will have to include the empathy phase, the prototyping phase, the define phase, the ideation phase. So must have some knowledge about UX, and knowing the use of like have full flush knowledge like about at least one tool, either Figma or XD or Sketch. And if you know one tool, it will be very easy to like adapt the other tool very quickly. Like just one day will be enough to just switch the tool. So have it
Okay.
start working on at least one of the tools.
And the project creating and portfolio creating would be helpful, right?
Yes, portfolio is very important. None of the positions would allow you to apply without a portfolio. So portfolio is very important.
Okay, okay. I guess that's it from all the
Mm,
students and from my side as well. And it was really an
okay.
insightful session. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll
Thank
wait for
you.
1 minute if any questions are there.
Yeah, there's one question. After designing, what is the next procedure to apply the designed UI UX to the app? So after designing, you hand off so there is an option in Adobe XD as well as in Figma as well as in
Convert into
Sketch.
XML,
You
yeah.
click on the handoff button, so you can share everything to developers. It would create a folder itself on your desktop layer or whatever the location would be, and it would create like it in different groups. Like it would also create a folder for icons, folder for typography and everything. So that's the way how you hand it off to the designers, and designers will be able to use those icons and typography and everything in actual development. Okay.
Great then. So I think that's it. And thank you again
Okay.
very much, Ria, for having this session. And I know that the time, Indian Standard Time and your times are a little bit different. So thank you for
Yeah.
sparing this time and giving the knowledge to the students. Right. So thank
Thank
you.
you for actually giving me this opportunity. It's 4:32 a.m. right now over here. So it's actually midnight, but I really I really enjoyed this webinar, and I'm open for any questions. If anyone has any questions, like I'm open, like you can just like share, like ask me on LinkedIn, connect me on LinkedIn. I'll be able to help anyone over here.
Yeah. So remaining questions you will be getting to the LinkedIn in your profile, and you just share
Yeah.
me the PPT. I'll be sharing with the students as well, and your
Okay.
LinkedIn profile.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So thank you and good night to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Good night. Bye bye.
Bye.